Hello, and welcome to Every Day is Funny, Tuesday, May 7th. I've been thinking about ways to embrace the more meditative side of the podcast, because I do want that to be half the fun. It is about newspaper comics, but to me it's also about closing your eyes, taking a sip of that first cup of coffee in the morning, and getting ready for the rest of the day. Taking some breaths, realizing you can start your day with a little laugh and a chill voice in your ear. It's the combination of both of those things to me. And so yesterday, I was taking a walk, and I walked past a performance of what seemed like Disney princesses performing in a little town square for some children. And I'm not sure if this was official Disney-sponsored content, or some women are capitalizing on a major corporation success by dressing up as vague heroines. But either way, they knew how to draw a crowd, so mad respect. And they were doing a show for these kids that involved singing and dancing, and I happened to pass by at the self-professed grand finale, and I sat down nearby and wrote the words they said. And I thought, in the oddball spirit of this podcast, it might make sense for us to do a little exercise and take these words and put them into a short meditation, a nice bit of self-affirmation on a Tuesday morning. And this was a little set of words to crown these children princes and princesses. And I thought, well, everyone could use that feeling. And so I would ask, if you have a second, this seems foolish, but if you could close your eyes, take a nice sip of coffee first, pause and be grateful for your surroundings, that you get to wake up and have a nice cup of coffee, sit and listen to some bowl like this, and remember these words were for children, but I think they should be brought to the adult side of things too. All right, here's the grand finale of the performance of these princesses. Make sure your hands are on your hips. Say, I am strong. Now, can you find your brain? Can you say, I am smart? Find your heart. It's the thing that goes bum, bum, bum. Can you say, I am brave? And now, you're all princes and princesses. All right, hopefully you were closing your eyes. Feel free to open them now. And you may have thought that was very stupid. And no doubt it was. That's kind of my whole thing. But I think it's a nice thing to tell ourselves in the morning. I will take meditative aim at one thing, is that telling this to children does seem like a heightened version of the participation trophy. We're now full on crowning them for their very minor efforts of finding their brain, their heart, and putting their hands on their hips. But I understand it's in the spirit of fictional royalty, and so I'm okay with it. Everybody needs self-confidence. If you perform that exercise with me, I very much appreciate it. And now let's get to the comics. I went on Comics Kingdom, and I decided to hit the random button. Comics Kingdom knows how to have a little fun with their viewers, and they put in a little random button. But the result it gave me was Dennis the Menace. And I was surprised. It felt like that's such a popular one, it felt like perhaps the website was skewing towards the more popular, even when it's saying it's random. Which, if true, is a massive cover-up by the mods of Comics Kingdom. And this kingdom, I think, should have its prince and princesses taken away. We've got plenty now to refill that throne. That was a really good callback I just came up with. Anyway, we all know Dennis the Menace. He's a little boy named Dennis, and he's a bit of a menace. I figured let's check out this classic on Tuesday, May 7th. We have Dennis and his neighbor, and Dennis is banging on some pots with 2 spoons in hand. Although I will say that his face doesn't look like a boy who's slamming on pots. He looks very calm, as if he's only threatening to bang on the pots, because he's giving the neighbor this like side eye that screams, I will bang on these pots. It also looks like the neighbor is drinking milk, just a glass of milk. And I find that a fun detail. I think that's really funny. Anyway, there's dialogue at the bottom from the neighbor. And he says, if you're going to misbehave, could you at least do it quietly? It's the kind of level of, is that a joke, where you wouldn't go out and tell people explicitly it's not a joke. Yet still something feels like, where's the punchline? Feels just more sad. This neighbor's resigned to the fact that he will be a menace, and he's just got to sit there and drink milk to cope. There is something sad about that. Let's check out the comments. JJ O'Malley says, you know, George, as it's your kitchen, you could simply tell him not to bang on your pots and pans, or would that make too much sense? I mean, he's right, but I think by now, I've never even read Dennis the Menace, and I feel like telling Dennis to not bang on pots or to get out of his home isn't gonna work. I don't think Dennis the Menace takes a hint. Half of his name is a synonym for evil. He's kind of like Urkel. You can throw him out, but he's gonna come back. All right, moving on to another random strip. I truly know nothing about this one, so let's see how it is. It's called Take It From the Tinkersons. And reading the About section, it says it's a timely comic strip about the hopes and dreams of a modern family working together to keep their heads above today's choppy economic waters. Ted and Tiff Tinkerson are a happily married couple with 2 children. And you can't leave out Tubby, their overweight but lovable dog. Shots fired at Tubby. I mean, even in the name. When did they get him? He was overweight from from day 1? Or did they change the name, which is really cruel? So far, I don't even like the Tinkersons. And again, this concept feels very wordy to try and explain a concept that is basically, this is another comic about a family. All right, we have who I assume is little boy Tinkerson talking to Papa Tinkerson. And the boy says, does coffee taste good? Which, I mean, I think we should have a bit of a morning drinking game. If coffee's mentioned and you're out there listening with a cup, you take a sip. That's what I'm doing. He says, "Does coffee taste good?" The dad says, "It depends." The boy says, "It depends on what you put in it." The dad says, "It depends on your age." That's nice. That's like a nice, wholesome truth. Especially when you think about who these comics are probably catered to and who's reading them. I think that's knowing your audience and going right down that lane successfully. The Tinkersons have won me back. Although there are no comments. Maybe I should change that. I've decided to make the first comment on the strip and have the kid follow up and say, "Well, Dad, you said the same thing about wine, but I'm guzzling that down like water every night." So we're gonna hit send on that. Let's end things with Rex Morgan, MD. When we last left Rex and the fam, they had arrived home with candy, and the family was welcoming them. Let's see what happens today. Headline up top, Candy's home from the vet, and the two sons are embracing the dog. One son says, "We missed you, Candy." The other says, "Sure did." Then it cuts to Rex and the daughter again. Rex says, "All's well that ends well, eh?" She said, "No thanks to me. It was all my fault she had to go to the vet in the first place." Sarah, please. We are home now. You gotta stop talking about this. You are saying the same sentence over and over again. And I know you feel guilty. But even with that line from Rex, he's like, "All's well that ends well, right? We can finally stop talking about this." It is pretty funny of Rex to say, "All's well that ends well," though. Like, he 5 seconds ago was in the car and his daughter was spilling her guts about her guilt. And now he's just like, "All right, let's move past that, huh?" All right, let's check the comments. Top comment, Mama of 3. She says, in quotes, "And because it was all my fault, I'm going to go into the room under the stairs and turn myself into a toad? Michael and Johnny together, can I have your room?" Is that a reference? It's not a Harry Potter reference. Is it a reference to a past Rex Morgan? Why is she talking about turning herself into a toad? Or is this just a bit of very random humor? Oh, David Ricard again. "Yes, you're a horrible person, Sarah. Trust me, no one is disputing that." Okay, Ricard, that kind of feels like you saw my comment yesterday, where I was playing the role of Rex saying, "Yes, everyone's disappointed in you and you'll never live this down." Not that it's the most novel thought. It's like when two comedians think of the same joke and it's fine. But it makes me want to put a closer eye on Rickard. Okay, this is probably the shortest comment I've ever posted so far. But just very simply, my comment says, "The sons in unison. Abby who?" Which is a joke if you've been following along. Abby is the other dog. And I think it'd be funny if the sons, once Candy is now home, reveal that Abby was nothing more than a placeholder for them. They are waiting for the true dog of the home to arrive. All right, it's time to wind down on this Tuesday, May 7th. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Feel free to message me at everydayisfunnyshow@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at everydayisfunnypod. Rewind to that prince and princess thing again, if you ever need it today. You deserve some positive self-affirmations. Goodbye, my prince and princesses.